What if one of the biggest discoveries in human history was made without a single word, without science, and without anyone even realizing it? Every person alive today exists because at some point, our ancestors figured out a hidden connection that seems obvious to us now. But imagine living in a world where babies simply appeared months after certain events, with no calendars, no biology, and no written knowledge. How did humans ever realize that sex leads to babies? The answer is far stranger than most people think. Today, it feels impossible not to know where babies come from. Children learn it in school. Adults understand reproduction through science. But for most of human history, that knowledge did not exist in the way we think of it today. Our earliest human ancestors lived in small groups, constantly moving in search of food. Their lives revolved around survival, hunting, gathering, avoiding predators, raising children. They had no clocks and no calendars. They did not count months. They did not even know exactly how long a pregnancy lasted. That created a huge mystery. A baby does not appear the next day after sex. It takes around 9 months. For people who had no way of tracking time, linking those two events was far from obvious. In fact, many anthropologists believe that early humans probably did not understand the exact biological connection at first. Instead, pregnancy may have seemed almost magical. Across many ancient cultures, people believed that spirits, gods, the moon, rivers, or sacred places caused pregnancy. Some thought a woman became pregnant because of a dream. Others believed invisible forces entered her body. If that sounds strange, remember this. Even some societies studied by anthropologists in recent centuries held beliefs that sex alone did not create babies. Some believed repeated sex helped a baby grow, while spirits or ancestors started the pregnancy. This tells us something fascinating. Simply experiencing reproduction does not automatically explain it. So how did humans eventually solve the mystery? The answer was not one brilliant moment. It was thousands of years of observation. Humans are natural pattern seekers. Imagine living in the same community for decades. You notice that women who have intimate relationships with men often become pregnant months later. Women who never do almost never become pregnant. One coincidence means nothing. 10 coincidences raise questions. Hundreds of similar observations across generations begin to reveal a pattern. Slowly, the impossible became obvious. As humans settled into farming villages around 12,000 years ago, the connection likely became even clearer. People stayed in one place instead of constantly moving. Families became easier to observe. Generations lived together. Knowledge could be passed from parents to children. Patterns that once disappeared during constant migration became impossible to ignore. But there was another clue hiding in plain sight. Animals. Early humans spent thousands of years watching wild animals. Later, they domesticated goats, sheep, pigs, and cattle. They noticed something remarkable. When males and females mated, babies appeared months later. Even more interesting, if males were separated from females, no babies were born. These observations gave humans a powerful comparison with their own lives. The same pattern repeated everywhere. Different animals, different environments, the same result. By this point, the mystery was becoming much harder to ignore, but understanding that sex causes pregnancy was only the blood beginning. People still had no idea what sperm, eggs, chromosomes, DNA, or fertilization were. Those discoveries would not arrive until thousands of years later. Even the ancient Greeks, famous for philosophy and science, misunderstood many details of reproduction. Some believed the father provided almost everything needed to create a child, while the mother simply carried it. Others had completely different theories. It took centuries of scientific progress, microscopes, and careful experiments before humans finally understood what was actually happening inside this body. That raises an interesting question. If the connection seems so obvious now, why did it take so long? Because our brains are excellent at spotting immediate cause and effect. Touch fire, it burns instantly. Drop a stone, it falls immediately. But when one event happens, and the result appears nearly 9 months later, the connection becomes much harder to see, especially without writing, calendars, or scientific tools. In many ways, discovering reproduction was not just about biology. It was about learning to see patterns across time. That ability changed everything. It helped humans understand farming, seasons, medicine, animal breeding, and eventually, science itself. So perhaps the real story is not how humans discovered where babies come from. It is how the human mind slowly learned to connect distant events into one invisible chain of cause and effect. And that simple ability became one of the greatest superpowers our species ever developed. If you enjoy exploring the hidden moments that shaped human history, subscribe for more documentaries that make ordinary questions feel extraordinary.